What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, August 30th, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Reverend Jared Petty.
Dokie dokie, Greg.
How are you?
Chipper. I went to bed at 7:45 last night. I woke up at 1 a.m. for some reason. I've been up ever since.
You've been up since 1 a.m.
I have. Yeah, it's really strange.
When you go to bed at 7:45, what does Angie do? She still go to bed too, or she sticks out like a human being?
No, she just hangs out. She did stuff. Okay. I don't really know what she did last night, but she was up pretty late. And normally, if I go to bed at 7:45, I'm going to sleep all through the night, straight through. Very, very strange for me to wake up early.
Sure.
Not sure what's going on.
What did you do? You play games? You work on Hot Flip?
Got up and worked on PAX stuff mostly.
Yes, PAX coming on. That's right. You're leaving for PAX immediately after this. I'm going to put in a few more hours of work, then I'm going to PAX, Seattle. It's coming.
Yeah, you just want to wake up in the morning and make some PowerPoints.
Now, this is your first PAX.
This is my first PAX.
Are you excited?
I am very excited because I've done a lot of the convention circuit, but this is the fan convention. This is the one that I always told myself that, as much as I want to, it's hard to justify because before it was all a matter of covering for media sites, covering for, so this was something I would have done for pleasure. But now in this new weird, whatever the heck I do for a living, I don't influence anything. I have no influence.
You influence people to be better human beings, Jared Petty.
But this is exactly where I want to be. So going to PAX West, first time, really, really exciting.
Of course, we're going to get to the panels and housekeeping and all that jazz, so don't get into that. But outside of panels, are you going to go see games? Have you booked appointments? What are you doing?
Most of what I'm doing on this trip is going to a panel, running back to my hotel room, making the PowerPoint for the next panel, going to a panel, running back to my hotel. I also have about 3 or 4 informal meetings. So let's put it that way. Those, hey, let's talk about things that might eventually be happening. You've been to a lot of those.
I've been to some of those.
So I've got a few, but I have no game preview appointments and a lot of handshaking about distant projects.
Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday in a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. kindafunny.com/KFGD with your questions, comments, concerns, bad PSN names, and everything else under the video game sun. Then watch us record it live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If we get something wrong, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight. For everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and listening on podcast services around the globe.
I do have to ask, Greg, is there a kindafunny.com/space rocks yet?
I'm not going to answer that question.
No, you're not?
No, there is not.
I think Gary would be very excited.
It's the thing of yesterday I wasn't on the show because you and Tim talked about it, that I was too busy.
What's that?
When I was gone, you on some other trip, you booked this day out. We're like, you know what? You guys pulled me off, and I appreciate that. But I was so busy doing the other things, I didn't watch the episode yet. And then you came out, and Gary mentioned this retirement plan about Space Rocks, and he started to explain it, but then I was on a call or something, and then I went into my mentions on Twitter, and I went into the questions for Kinda Funny Games Daily, and a lot of people are excited about Space Rocks, and I need to figure out what the fuck that is, because it sounds like a perfect Patreon thing.
It's the geological sensation that's sweeping the nation, Greg Miller. That's what it is.
I can't leave you two alone for 2 seconds. Housekeeping before we get into it. Human Fall Flat sponsored this week's Party Mode to promote their new multiplayer mode that's new to consoles. So check out Party Mode right now, youtube.com/kindafunnygames. It's a very, very funny one. It's well received, which is always awesome. Then at PAX, we're doing the Kinda Funny Intersight Championship Saturday night. Human Fall Flat will be a part of that as well. Speaking of PAX, it is tomorrow. It starts tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow, myself, Jared, Corey Barlog, and more are talking about the perfect Superman game at 3 p.m. in the Wyvern Theater. You can watch live on Twitch. That one's being streamed on Twitch.
That one's being streamed on Twitch.tv.
Right.
Yep.
Then, of course, on Saturday, it is the Kinda Funny Intersight Championship, 7 p.m. in the Hydra Theater. It's me, Jared, Andrea, more than 20 of your favorite video game personalities, all going for that Per Schneider Intersight Cup. Then the next day.
Actually, it's not the next day because I put that in the wrong spot.
I moved it around. My apologies. My apologies.
All right.
So, God, it's a time warp. Friday at 3 p.m., we're doing the Superman panel. Then Saturday at 3 p.m., Jared.
No, Saturday at 11. 11.
You say it says right there.
Well, that's wrong.
Saturday at 11. Jared, JR, Steimer, and Britt are doing a live Red Dead radio in the Sasquatch Theater at 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Then that night, 7 p.m. is our thing. Then Sunday, What's Good Games and Andrea take the stage 10 a.m.
Woo-hoo.
That's the Hydra stage.
Love
Sunday.
those What's Good Games ladies.
Jeez Louise, then you got another one here too you added. Then Crunchyroll Expo is on Monday. You can join Jared as he hosts the Dragon Quest panel with series creator, don't do it, Yuji Horii, Monday at 3 p.m.
Very good.
Fucking crushed.
You almost got that double I there at the end. Almost. It's kind of Horii. It's like a little. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the newest episode of Hop Blip and Jump is live as well.
Yeah. And
it's about Superman in Jacksonville.
That's about Jacksonville. It's a very short episode and it was kind of weird. So yeah, I a lot of self plugs here in the
I'm glad that was part of your contract.
Yeah.
We can pay you peanuts and then you can promote whatever you want when you come on here.
But yeah, I did a special, very short Hop Blip, and I felt kind of, I don't know, just watch it.
Sure. I did last night.
Yeah. So that's what that is.
When I come home, I'm with you all day long usually. We don't get to talk about anything too important other than video games.
No,
and
we
then
really
I go home and I like to watch you talk all the same.
I'm so sorry about that. You can find better ways to use your time than watching me talk, Greg.
I watched Cool Greg a little bit on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames last night as well. Whole lot of game shit, as he calls it. You know what I mean? All he plays is Simpsons Hit and Run.
Oh, well.
He has every video game console and pretty much unlimited games at his disposal here at the Kind of Funny office, playing Simpsons Hit and Run.
No, which one is the GTA open world one, or which one's the Crazy Taxi one? Because I always get those two mixed up.
Hit and Run was the open world one.
Okay, that's the good one. Yeah.
What one?
Road Rage.
Road Rage is the other one.
Yeah, Road Rage is not good, but Hit and Run is good.
Hit and Run was a lot of good.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, Cool Greg, I think you're on top of it. I was having the PS3 out with the PS2 backward compatibility just last night. We're grabbing some Red Dead Revolver. A lot of fun.
Here's what we're going to do, Cool Greg, all right? After this show, we're going to reach out and we're going to get you a Fire Pro Wrestling copy, all right? Then you won't play it alone because I know you won't. Next week, you and I are going to do a whole lot of game shit together. So I can get you started and get you a roster and get you built up, and then that's what you can stream the rest of the time.
I'm excited, man. Let's go.
All right,
I like
fine.
that. So he's going to play Fire Pro? No, wait, are you going to play like PS2 Fire Pro?
Oh, no, I want to get him on the PS4 version. Come on,
okay.
man.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I am not furious. I understand game development is tough. I understand that I was in a privileged position of having the game early, right?
Okay.
My save is no longer compatible with Fire Pro Wrestling.
What happened?
They put out a patch. It's fucking over a lot of people. On the subreddit, they're talking about it too. If you have a save apparently before one of the last two patches and you try to go, you just, when it goes past the Spike Chunsoft logo, it goes to a black screen and you get an endless pinwheel. So
That's not good.
I refuse. If you delete your save, which I did after uploading it, I deleted it, then started it, it works. But I don't have any of the characters I made. I don't have any of my progression. I was like, nah. I'm going to wait and see if they patch that and fix that before I go.
Man.
Everybody beware. Beware. Anyways. Today we're brought to you by Hims, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. Number one on the Roper Report, Battlefield 5 has been delayed.
Whoa, no Baker's Dozen today?
I screwed it up. 4 items on the Roper Report.
A Baker's Dozen.
Sorry, I'm getting into PAX mode. I'm like Apollo 13 up here. I'm turning off systems that aren't crucial anymore.
That's right. It's like, gotta
move the amps around.
Gotta move the amps around. That's right. Gotta have Gary Sinise in the simulator. He's laying down there. That's
Don't give me anything they don't have up there. Apollo 13, great flick. Number one, Battlefield 5 has been delayed. I'm going to read from Oskar Gabrielson, the GM of DICE's statement that he put up. I paraphrase some of it, take some stuff out of that. Of course, Jared, you worked at EA. Mm-hmm. You just left this year, right?
Yeah, it's been much less than a year since I left.
Right. It's crazy. It's just long. And so Battlefield 5 kind of crosses over with your time there. So you're going to be quiet on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to be quiet on this
one.
I'm
going to not that there's that much really to go, but I'm going to give you context and go. Here's Oscar's statement. Today we're announcing that Battlefield 5 will have a new launch date, November 20th, 2018. I wanted to give you a little bit of insight into how we arrived at this date. He goes on to talk about how they've had a whole bunch of betas and gotten a whole bunch of feedback. You have told us that you are seeing an increased focus on squad play come through. You are also feeling the difference in our revamped player movement, and we are getting a lot of positive feedback for our approved weapons handling. You've also spurred us to make some meaningful improvements to the core gameplay experience, including adjusting the gameplay tempo, improving soldier visibility, and reducing player friction. You'll see a lot of these reflected in our open beta that starts September 6th. We believe that we have one of the best Battlefield games ever on our hands, a game that will deliver on an emotional journey through the return of unseen single-player war stories, a deep multiplayer experience, battle royale, along with our new live service, Tides of War, a journey across multiple theaters of World War II and designed to keep our community together. With the open beta just around the corner, we are excited about the millions of you who will join us and experience the game, and we fully expect to see even more feedback coming our way. And that's why we're moving our launch date. We're going to take some time to continue to make some final adjustments to core gameplay and to ensure we really deliver on the potential of Tides of War. So that's the statement from Oskar, GM of DICE. Context I want to give you here. First off, CNBC reported today in their lead of this article, shares of Electronic Arts plunged more than 8% in the morning trading Thursday after the game maker announced it was delaying the release of Battlefield 5 by a month and adjusted its full year guidance to reflect the lower sales. Not unexpected, obviously. You move a game, you mess with the fiscal year, you move all the stuff around, that's going to happen. However, I want to give you this context then from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku that originally, of course, Battlefield 5 was set to release on October 19th, a week after Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and a week before Red Dead Redemption 2. You're going to be quiet. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, the whole thing today is this running from Red Dead? That was the big question. Is this one of the first people to fall, to move around, to get out of there? Is it that the game needs more time? Is it another thing? I think it's a multitude of those reasons. I think it's all of that stuff happening at once in the way that we've talked about in the show before. And somebody put up an article, and I forget who, and I wasn't able to find it beforehand, basically saying, and it might have been a comment on Kind of Funny Games Daily, that EA looked like they were about to Titanfall 2 Battlefield 5. In the fact of releasing it after Call of Duty but before Red Dead. Why would you put it out in this space where you're going to force it, it's not going to be able to thrive, let alone the fact that I had talked about the fact that we weren't hearing about this game. Why it was that thing of, it was an afterthought. Call of Duty was getting so much press. We were hearing a lot about that. And I'm just talking about in terms of first-person shooters. I hadn't heard much since the reveal of the cover and the hullabaloo about that. Personally, my take on it is, yes, delay it. Of course, delay it. I think it's DOA if it comes out in the time period they were talking about. And if it needs more time, if it needs more marketing, if it needs more anything, that's always a good thing. And so I'm happy to see that. Of course, you see the short-term results. EA shares drop, but that's the stock market and when you have to change anything. I think, Jared, you can chime in on this, but let me know if you can. Tonight at the Pit wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, with publishers steering clear of Red Dead's October 26th release date, and I'm not saying Battlefield 5 is, this is Greg again, I'm not saying Battlefield 5 is, but we're obviously in that vein, and that does seem to be a prevailing theory, and it probably has something to do with it, right? Do we expect the same treatment in the future for CD Projekt's Reds, or CD Projekt's Reds? Damn, man, I can't fucking say
That's
it.
hard to say.
Yeah, CD Projekt Reds, Cyberpunk 2077. Both games have excellent pedigree from quality developers, but would a first-class single-player experience get the same respect as a GTA-like game as a service with a huge marketing push? Basically, he's asking, do you think people are going to run from Cyberpunk like people have from Red Dead in some fashion?
I think certain kinds of games will, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, do you really want to release an Assassin's Creed across from Cyberpunk? You know, it's a large open world RPG-esque experience at this point.
Yeah.
So no, you probably don't want to release that up against it. You don't want to create that classic Deep Impact Armageddon situation.
Sure.
Why have two games that people put, Volcano and Dante's Peak?
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
Why put two things against each other that given a little time to breathe could both be successful? Because yes, they are competitors. You look at one company, you look at another, but you want to make more money than the other guy. You don't necessarily want to crush him either, or create that kind of confrontation when there's plenty of space in the market for both games to do really well. So don't force that kind of situation. I don't think a game like Spiderman would be in peril coming out across from Cyberpunk, because they're very different games.
But it's not even peril in terms of, like, I think if you're going to launch your game directly against Red Dead or right around Red Dead, especially in, let's just say Battlefield 5 for instance here, right? A game that I don't think there's much fanfare for, that I forget about every so often, that isn't doing the other things. Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge problem, right? But it's Spider-Man wouldn't be the same problem, but it would be the bandwidth issue.
Well, I do think, I'm talking about Cyberpunk in this case with bandwidth.
Sure,
I'm not as worried about Cyberpunk, although it's still going to be a huge event. But I do think people in the genre in particular are going to stay out of the way, because it's going to control, it's not just a matter of sales, it'll also control the news cycle. It'll control the influencer cycle. It'll control the Twitch cycle. When
Red Dead drops, IGN's front page will all be Red Dead stories. Here's the map, here's this, you see this Easter egg, blah, blah, blah. The blog rule will just be that. If you put out a game there, you're struggling to get oxygen any eyes on it before it gets bumped off by the next week.
Like same thing on Twitch when it comes to new games. A lot of streamers will be streaming it. And then when the online comes out, you're going to get the same thing in a second wave. I think that what's going to happen with Red Dead is everybody and their uncle on the place of the planet Earth who makes video games is going to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
If they have any option, if there's any possibility to stay out of the way, they will. Cyberpunk, I think that action adventure games will stay out of the way.
Yeah, I don't think Cyberpunk is going to be the juggernaut that Red Dead is. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be bigger than The Witcher 3. I think it's really going to get people excited, especially people who looked at Witcher like myself and were like, oh, that's cool, and maybe they played it for a while, but like, all right, cool, fantasy is not really my thing or whatever. Whereas Cyberpunk, I think, is totally speaks to me on so many levels, and I'm so in on 100.
Cyberpunk will be huge. Cyberpunk 2 could be the kind of game that rocks a universe like that.
Yeah.
But Cyberpunk will still be a remarkably impressive game sales-wise, and people in genre will stay out of the way. But Red Dead is GTA 6 in a lot of ways.
Number 2, there's going to be a Jacksonville tribute stream from EA on Thursday. That's 1 week from today. I'm going to read their entire post here. Jacksonville Tribute Fund and live stream. The events last weekend in Jacksonville will impact the gaming community forever. We can't begin to understand the pain so many are going through, nor do we pretend to have all the answers that will help us through the healing process. But as is so often the case, our community inspires us. The way you are coming together and the outpouring of support for all those affected by this tragedy is incredibly uplifting. We want to join you. So today we're establishing the Jacksonville Tribute. First, we're making a $1 million contribution to support the victims of last Sunday's events. We're also working to set up a fund where others can contribute alongside our donation, and we will come back very soon with further details. Contributions will go to the victims, including the families of Taylor Robertson, Elijah Clayton, and all those who were affected. We would also like to help by bringing the gaming community together and uniting in play through the Jacksonville Tribute livestream next Thursday, September 6th. We've heard from so many of you that you would like to support the victims and to show that this horrific event will not define us, but only serve to make our community stronger. We're already working with many of you to help make this happen through the live stream. We'll share more details very soon.
I'm very happy to see EA making an immediate, concrete response to this with, frankly, with a massive amount of money behind it. And I'm not trying to be cynical here. I don't pretend to be have ever been in anything like the situation that these victims were in. But a long time ago, my wife and I were victims of a crime that caused permanent injury to her. And the California Victims Compensation Fund and the help of other people outside who just chose to give to victims changed my life. Money in a time of medical crisis is ridiculously helpful, even if you're insured. And so this very generous and thoughtful gesture by Electronic Arts makes me extraordinarily happy. I hate to see that they have, that they're in a situation where this is necessitated, but this is a conscionable, ethical, compassionate act on the part of a company and the people who lead that company. And I'm happy that along with the verbal tribute, there is a tactile, measurable, quantifiable response. Even though EA does not bear responsibility for this act of violence, they have simply chosen to give, and I think that's wonderful.
Right. It's what I think so many of us need right now, and that's an outlet. You know what I mean? Of like, we've talked about it all week on the show. Just like, what do we do with all of this? You've talked about it on Hop, Lip, and Jump. What do we do with these emotions, these feelings where we want to, we all want to help, but how do you help, and what do you do? Like, obviously, there's a long road ahead of us to make the world a better place. But in this moment right now, this is excellent. I want to help these people. I want this live stream to be successful and help raise money if that's what they're doing on it and stuff. Kind of Funny will help in any way possible they can next Thursday. And not beyond.
I've been keeping in touch with friends that work there or have worked there, and Sunday was largely spent on a thread with current and former EA employees trying to find out if the people who were there or would have been there were safe or not. It was really frightening. Thankfully, none of them were among the wounded, but people still died. And I didn't know what to do. I make stupid videos on the internet for a living.
Don't we all?
And I'm not sure if it was right or wrong to come out and make a video as the way of dealing with that as a first step.
That's how you talk, though. That's how you speak. That's what you create.
And I hope what I said was worth saying, but I don't know. Maybe it was useless. Maybe it was just vomiting stupidity into the dark.
I think that's what we all worry about, though, right? When I talked on Monday and Tuesday on this show about it, that was the thought too, of just like, I know I'm spinning my wheels and I know I'm not enacting a change right now, but I need to talk about it. We all need to talk about it, and we need to have things like this. And I do love this message of bringing the gaming community together, uniting in play, and like proving that this will not define us, right? That this is not how the narrative of what video games are and what live streaming is going to be told to the broader audience.
People crap on EA a lot. There's a lot of great people that work there that care about others.
Sure. Well, good on you, EA. Look forward to that on Thursday, September 6th. Number 3, Square and Tencent are teaming up. This is from James Batchleor over at Games Industry Biz. Japanese publisher Square Enix has teamed up with Chinese gaming giant Tencent with a partnership that will lead to new AAA IP. The publisher revealed it has signed a letter of intent to create a strategic alliance with the internet provider, with plans to co-develop blockbuster new game franchises from scratch, as well as potentially license existing intellectual properties to each other. There is also talk of the establishment of a joint venture company, although no details have been given. Square Enix says that further details of the strategic alliance will be announced at a later date as progress is made. Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda.
Yosuke Masuda.
You don't say the T? Matsuda?
It's Masuda. It's 3 sounds. Masuda.
Okay.
The TSU is one letter.
Oh, thank you. Described the partnership as a strong boost to our strategy, while Tencent SVP Stephen Ma, Stephen Ma, I got it right, said the Chinese giant has strong expectations for this strategic alliance. Nothing to act on there, really. Tencent continuing to invade every aspect of video games.
Although, Tencent already made it clear that there's some diversification going on within the company as China's kind of throttling back parts of its controlled economy, the amount of money that maybe can go into that games market. They're kind of putting some sort of cap on that right now. Tencent's moving in different directions. Does this mean a new Chinese initiative? Does this mean Tencent partnering with the West to make money on that side? Tencent already has a lot of deals with Japanese developers, with Western developers. They own part of Epic. They own part of Riot. They got the fingers on a lot of pies.
Yeah.
And this, I don't know if this is a part of that diversification, if this is something that precedes that initiative that's already had the ink signed. I don't know anything more about it than that. But
it's an interesting thing you bring up of how Tencent recently was on this show because of the whole thing of the blocking of new licenses for games or whatever in China.
Yeah.
And how that was sending ripples out of that's going to affect everything eventually.
Market shrinking potentially.
And so you see them making these partnerships to make sure they're still bringing in income and doing all these different things.
I assume. I don't know.
Me too.
I don't know enough about this deal to give you an analysis on that. I'd love to find out.
Well, you know what deal you do know a lot about?
My big deal with Big Twinfinite?
Number 4 on the Roper Report, Nintendo's new mobile game details. This is by Shu over at Twinfinite. I didn't realize Shu Yoshida wrote for Twinfinite. Makes sense, though.
You didn't know that?
Jared?
Yeah.
Read me the story you put in here.
Nintendo has fully revealed key details about, I think it's Dragalia?
I would have said Dragalia.
I think
but I'm wrong all the time.
Mike Grimm made a Dragula joke the other day. It's just burning witches, and it's instead of that, Rob Zombie-ish. So
stick to the paper.
Can I just call it Dragula Lost?
You can call it whatever you want.
Nintendo has fully revealed key details on Dragalia Lost, its upcoming mobile RPG launching on September 27th. A partnership with Cygames, known for its work on popular mobile titles such as Shadowverse and Grand Blue Fantasy. The game will have a simultaneous release between the US, Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau. Gameplay is a simple mix between tapping and swiping for attacking and dodging. Meanwhile, players can also access skills, dragon transformations, party switches, and emotive stamps without having to leave the action. An important mechanic for boss fights is overdrive.
Overdrive.
As an enemy receives damage, they will enter overdrive, which strengthens their abilities. However, keeping the pressure on an opponent will lower the overdrive gauge and eventually break the enemy, rendering them vulnerable to damage. Character growth in this game will be dictated through leveling up, equipment, a stat tree known as the Mana Circle, and a city building mode called Halidom. Being a free-to-play app from Japan, Dragalia Lost will also feature summoning as a mechanic, using free or purchasable in-game currency. You can unlock characters, dragons, and worm prints at specified rates. I can only assume worm prints are like blueprints for worms.
Exactly.
Over 60 characters and dragons can join your battle, coming in ratings of 3 to 5 stars. Duplicate summons will earn you a currency called Eldwater, enabling the upgrade of lower-tiered units to higher ratings. Worm prints, on the other hand, appear as artwork and described as an amulet or talisman, with each affecting different attribute boosts. These will be useful items for giving adventures an added fighting advantage. These summons can only be performed using the game's free Wyrmite currency or paid Diamantium. Last but not least, Dragalia Lost features multiplayer through most of its gameplay. Though you can always go it alone, you can also team up with up to 4 players to engage in quests. Nintendo also teased multiplayer raids, showcasing a battle with many players working together to take down a massive dragon. I know that's a long read, but I wanted to get...
Why is this important? Jared Petty?
Because it's a Nintendo mobile game. We haven't had one of those in a while. We heard about that big mobile game initiative. They were kind of involved in that Pokemon Go a little bit.
Right.
But that was,
We had
that
some
was also the
Animal
Pokemon
Crossing.
company. Had that Animal Crossing.
We had Mario Run.
Mario Run, excellent video game.
Where really?
Oh, I
You thought it was
Mario.
excellent?
Oh, I really like Mario
You're the first
Run.
person I've ever met who's like, oh man, that was awesome.
Did you like it?
That was fine.
Oh, I love Mario
I played
Run.
it at a movie theater once. Like, all right.
Oh, okay. No, it's deep. There's a lot going on. You play Mario Run a long time. Okay. $10, great game.
Where's
Love it.
Mario Kart? What was that? That's supposed to be
I don't know.
coming
That
too,
shit
right?
happened.
Anyway,
too.
so back to your
also, anyway, going back to that, there's been some other Fire Emblem stuff, other things like that.
Nobody
But
cares about Fire Emblem.
we got another one of these. So whenever Nintendo releases a aimed at mobile game in this age where they are owning the universe with the Switch, I think it's worth taking notice.
Sure.
Nintendo's mobile philosophy has been kind of all over the place and evolving. For Mario Run, where they're like, hey, pay one price, get a game. And guess what? People on mobile application stores, by and large, don't want to do
They
that.
scoffed at it.
They scoff. They say, ha! Pay $10 for a high quality video game? Who would ever do that?
Outrageous. Give it to me
I'd
for
rather
free.
pay $100 for something that I'm ostensibly getting for free. And that's really why I'm bringing this up, because I haven't seen the game yet. But here we have Diamantium and Worm, and this some people are going to like it, enjoy it, have fun. Why? And the answer is money, and I get it. And it's Nintendo, and I'm sure it'll be a polished, interesting product. But I really just want to gripe for a second about how we had a chance with
Go for
Mario
it.
Run to have, hey, we want to go high quality, one price fits all. And not enough people bought it to justify that, even though it was a very high quality game. And so what we're doing is what everybody else does in their pricing, and now we're back in that realm. If it was cosmetics only, Fortnite style, that's great. I'm a big fan of that. That's fine. But
Sure.
really, do I want to pay for boosts? Do I want to pay for... anyway, that's me.
Do
What about
you
you,
expect
Greg?
to play this? Do you expect to try this out?
No. No, I read this and thought, I will never play this game. I will not waste space on my phone with this.
Sure. And you play a lot of mobile games.
I play a lot of mobile games.
Yeah.
Well, I play a fair number of mobile
Yeah.
games. I think more than people here in the office.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah,
In the land of the blind, you got one eye. And we're
I'm
like,
no
great job.
Justin Davis,
Yeah.
who plays them all. But yeah, I do play a fair number. No, I have no interest in this except as an academic exercise. And I'm being a kind of a grumpy old man. What about you, though? I mean, does this interest you?
No, God, no.
Yeah?
No, nothing about this. This sounds way too deep into the RPG nerd side that I can't get into.
Oh, so it's the RPG aspect, not the.
I mean, it's
not
one
the
of those
pricing
things,
aspect?
and I mean, of course, I'm a huge video game nerd, as you know. If you're just a new listener and don't know that, I understand. I'll back it off. I'm saying that it's just not my type of game. I mean, even from the title, Dragalia, I'm like, oof, that's gonna be a tough Greg Miller sell. And we're talking about mana, we're talking about all this stuff. It's like,
Where'd you find Pokemon Go?
I screwed around with it and thought it was an amazing fucking cultural movement to walk through my sleepy little neighborhood and have all these people on the street playing it and people putting on their signs and all this shit. Like, that was like a once in a lifetime experience of like, holy shit, everyone is playing this right now. And that's insane. But you know, I'm not a Pokemon guy. I have no soft spot for Pokemon. That's not a universe I ever cared about. So I put it down, and now you find me here going like, where's Ghostbusters World? You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, Ghostbusters
right,
World, I'm totally going to be
But you
like,
like the idea.
yeah, and I don't know if I'll be playing Ghostbusters World for like months on end, but I guarantee there's going to be a weekend where I'm like, all right, Jen, let's get a coffee and walk. Let's just walk around.
Does the revenue model trouble you at all?
No. I mean, that's how and I understand that, like, this is what I expect from mobile games, right? And and I think it can be done correctly and stuff. So reading this, it sounds like a normal mobile game to me, right?
Yeah, well, that's see, you were talking about me playing a lot of mobile games. I do. I play a lot of premium mobile games.
Sure.
I play a lot of pay one price mobile games. Yeah, I play my Kairosoft. I play my 80 days. I play, I'm playing and sometimes 99-cent games just because I want to pay one price for them. I gripe about this a lot. One of the best mobile games I've ever seen, Arkanoid versus Space Invaders. But I think last time I checked the store on Android, it had sold less than around 10,000 copies. You can't fund a game for that price. They charge $5 for this amazing game. They're never going to make their money back on it. And that sucks because it's so good. If I'd have paid $20 for that on a console, I'd feel great.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a hard space for me.
It's a really hard space, yeah, and I think people are trying to figure it out. And I don't think, I feel like you feel everyone, the good side was defeated with Super Mario Run.
I do.
I feel like that was a first approach on it. I don't think that's going to end. I think you have to do that, and other companies have to come do it, and you have to get out there and try it and show like, no, this is how it can work. It doesn't always have to work this way. It can be like this.
I just know that when I talk to devs that make these games, and these conversations, it's not like I've talked to everybody who's ever done one,
Sure.
but I don't hear optimistic things about premium sales on mobile. That you just don't make. And if you look at the sales charts that are out there, that seems to back that up, that people keep trying to do this, and audiences on mobile, there are those of us that will run out and buy them. And there are not enough of us that will run out and buy them. Best friends, only you can save the universe on this one.
But I'm part of the problem, right? I don't play mobile games really for all intents and purposes. I have a few on there. There's always been a few. There's success stories here and there. I am excited for Ghostbusters World, of course. Full disclosure, I've got cast in the commercial, but that's not why I'm excited for it. I'm a Ghostbusters fan.
Yeah, you are the Ghostbusters fan.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I feel it's just every great mobile game, when there is a great mobile game, right, erodes the impression that mobile games suck and are for casual gamers and are cash-ins and are babies games and You go on, you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel the fact that there are vocal proponents like yourself and Andrea and Justin and Justin, of course. I mean, I remember when he got hired as the wireless guy at IGN, right?
Yeah.
Like that was his beat. I feel when those people are out there celebrating those games and those games get celebrated and you see the crossover of, guess what, everybody, Donut County is on PC, PS4, and iOS all on the same day. You get that, you suddenly start to see the vibe, Old Man's Journey. It starts on mobile and then bleeds over everywhere, where it is that thing of like, okay, no, cool shit's happening on mobile. And yes, it will maybe, hopefully come to you where you are, but you can also find those experiences on the phone if you really want to go get them. Yeah,
and I really do love these things. In a lot of ways, this device has ruined my life, but it's also enabled me to do things I never could have done before. It has both trapped me and opened new doors, as most technology does.
Sure.
And it does give me that childhood dream. I have a Game Boy in my pocket all the time now. I literally have to do my job.
Yeah.
So there it is. And wow, there's a wonderful world. So again, whether you're on iOS or Android, there are clearly marked premium stores.
Sure.
And they will demand sometimes as much as $15 for, a 60-hour RPG.
Sure.
And as little as 99 cents for some things. There's great stuff out there. There's great reviews out there to be found. You can look at places like Tiny Cartridge or Touch Arcade and see some quality review work done there.
Pick up Florence.
Oh, gotta play Florence.
Florence is so good.
Yeah, if you haven't played Florence, you've missed one of the best games of the last year.
That was this year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
this year's been a blur.
No, Florence is going to be on when we're talking Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I'll
definitely
Florence.
have that on my short list of cool things to talk about. But Game of the Year is so far away, Jared. If I wanted more current gaming news, like say what came to the mom and grab shops, where would I go?
Well, with that Greg way, I'd go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kind of Funny Games daily show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. It is motherfucking Thursday. So let's cross out everything that is not a Switch game so I can just come back and tell you what is the Switch games. So right now, Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet Collapse of Balance DLC is available on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Hero of the Kingdom 3 is out on Steam today. That's so much. Okay. Hold on. Haunted Dungeons, Hayaki Castles on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
All right. Gonna do that cross.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not gonna do this demo. 2 Points Hospital is now officially open on PC, Mac, and Linux.
All right.
Here we go. Everything here is Switch. The Messenger is out. Of course, my wife worked on it, or she does PR for it, or brand management, whatever you want to call it. Pop Agenda. Everybody loves it though.
I'm hearing good things about that game.
Andy is a big fan of it on the other side of the thing. I've played it, of course. It's great. I mean, I know them, obviously. I know my wife, and it's one of those games where I don't have the soft spot for Ninja Gaiden. Yeah. I don't have that callback to NES. Like, I'm looking for those things, but playing it, even I'm like, oh, this is actually.
If you're gonna do it, you got to do it like the guy in oh crap! Now I've screwed up my joke. I forgot the name of the movie because my brain is dead.
And I'll keep moving. You remember it. Come back to it. The Walking Dead, the complete first season, got listed in the Switch press release today. But I remember somebody saying that last week, I thought, but maybe it just came after Friday. I don't know. Walking Dead complete first season's on Switch. ACA, Neo Geo, Cross Swords. I'm gonna stop saying Switch.
Cross Swords. That is an odd choice for release. Have you ever seen this? Mm-mm. It's like you're seeing like dudes from behind holding swords and shields in the foreground, and that's you. You're like looking through you, kind of Punch Out style, and then dudes are walking toward you and you're just stabbing them. It's a very strange game.
Okay. Blux. Fall of Light, Darkest Edition, Freedom Planet, Mini Metro. Cool, Greg? Can you give me a search on Mini Metro? Because is this that game that was on iOS that is the one where you plan the subway routes?
Yeah, it's a subway game.
Yeah.
That's
I saw
Mini
this
Metro.
at PAX East, not this last PAX East, but the one before that, and I was like, this is awesome.
No.
And maybe even years before that I saw, this is the one. I hit up people that I know at PlayStation, and I was like, get this game on Vita. Now it's on Switch. I'm going to buy it as soon as this show's over. Fantaruk. Real Politics.
Real Politics.
The Video Kid. The Video Kid I had not heard of. Then I got the press release today that it's out, and it's Paperboy, but you're delivering VHS tapes, and you look like Marty McFly, and it's on the Nintendo Switch, and you bet your ass I have that on my Switch right now.
It was pretty rad walking in this morning and being like, Jared, I have a code for you.
Yeah.
I have a code for you, Jared.
Yeah. I've only seen the video, and it looked good. I can't tell if it plays well, if it actually handles, but it's like, I fucking miss Paperboy, and I'm always down for that.
Paperboy's one of those games like we all have memories. It was so darn distinctive. The bicycle handle controller. If you were there for that, I was forgetting. That game is hard.
It's very
that
hard.
Game is so
I hope
hard.
Video Kid is not that hard. We'll see.
Oh.
New dates for you. Video Kid is also out tomorrow on Xbox One, the 31st. IGN has also exclusively revealed that Shovel Knight, King of Cards, the third and final story-based expansion, will be released April 9th, 2019. Wow. Shovel Knight Showdown, previously revealed by IGN earlier this week, will also be released on April 9th.
So much Shovel Knight in the world. More Shovel Knight, the better.
Can't stop me.
That's right.
Yacht Club Games. Everybody who loves Shovel Knight.
Yep.
When Yacht Club is like, hey, everybody, here's our next game, every motherfucker better buy it.
Yeah.
Because they've been supporting Shovel Knight for how many years? I remember seeing this game when we were at IGN. Like, they just keep putting out.
I think it's a 2013 game, I believe.
They have been so good to that audience and made Shovel Knight into such a fucking phenomenon.
You showed up in that little fighting game, too, for Switch.
Yeah.
What is that called?
I don't know. You got confused about it, right?
Me too. It's the one I own the game, and I can't remember the name of it right now. Well, that's helpful for them. That I can't remember the name.
I mean, Shovel Knight's everywhere. Don't worry about it.
My brain is dead. But I do remember the movie was The Wizard, starring Fred Savage, and the guy's going, Ninja Gaiden!
Oh, that's what you were referencing.
That was totally not worth it.
No, but it was. I would have jumped to The Wizard, obviously, because I thought that. Anyways.
Also, Tobey Maguire's in that scene, weirdly.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Really super young Tobey Maguire.
Wow.
Yeah, unless I'm confusing that with Back to the Future, but I don't think so.
No, Back to the Future is Elijah Wood.
Yeah,
Back to the Future 2.
No, this is really crazy young Tobey Maguire.
Wow, okay, I gotta look into that.
Yeah.
Deals of the day for you. Warhammer Vermintide 2 is free August 30th to September 3rd. Free play for everyone on Steam. And then Xbox Game Pass has been announced for September. Here's what they're adding to Game Pass. I didn't screw it up. Halo, the Master Chief Collection. Quantum motherfucking Break. Play Quantum Break. I love Quantum Break. Remedy Games. Get excited for Control. Quantum Break, an awesome game with cool ideas.
Control looks so good.
I know, right? Onrush, Avon Colony, Shadow Warrior 1. Onrush is September 5th, by the way. Everything else is September 1st. Skyforce Reloaded, Manual Samuel. Snake Pass, a game we love. Of course, Let's Plays up on that. Gianna Sisters, Twisted Dreams, and Inner Space.
Weird that Gianna Sisters is on there. That's
I don't know what that game is.
It's the sequel to an old Commodore 64 game, which is a direct Super Mario Brothers ripoff. That's like, we can't get the license from Mario, so we'll just, instead of the Super Mario Brothers, we're the Great Gianna Sisters. And it's just a straight Mario rip.
Oh, fair.
It's a good game.
Check it out.
The original.
Twisted Dreams. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I played Twisted Dreams. It's not bad. Okay. Honestly, it's doesn't have the charm the original did, but it's not a bad platformer.
Okay. Time for reader mail, but first I'm going to tell you it's brought to you by Hims. The problem, 66% of men lose their hair by age 35, and the thing is, when you notice the hair loss, it's too late. It's easier to keep what you have, and that's where 4hims.com comes in, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness, and more for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat your hair loss with well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair.
If only I had known.
You know what? It's never too late, because right now on the other side of the wall, Andy Cortez, Nick Scarpino use 4hims.com. They did it. They signed up. They sent in photos of their hairline. They talked to a doctor on the internet, and now Andy uses gummies. The gummies are helping his hair loss, and Nick loves to come steal the gummies, even though Nick has his own. But I know they're working on it, and you can too. Get out there. There's no waiting room, no awkward in-person doctor visits. You save hours by going to 4hims.com. Right now, my listeners get a trial month of Hims for just $5. Right now, while supplies last. You can see the website for details. This would cost hundreds if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy. Go to 4hims.com/gamesdaily. That's FORHIMS.com/gamesdaily. 4hims.com/gamesdaily. Gil from Israel is the first question. He wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, when I first played one of the Batman Arkham games, I helped thinking. He means kept. I kept thinking to myself, that's how Batman moved. Okay, let's try this all over again.
We're going to start over here again. We can make this work.
What? Cool, Greg, cut and then restart, all right? What's up, everybody? Welcome to... I'm kidding, Ron.
Oh, wow.
When
okay.
I first played one of the Batman Arkham games, I kept thinking to myself, that's not how Batman moves, that's how Spider-Man moves. Yet ever since last year's E3, people don't stop complaining, that shit's not original. It's a Batman game in a red suit. What's your take? Gil, of course, the kind of funny review of Spider-Man PlayStation 4 goes live Tuesday of next week. 7 a.m. But from previews we've played and we've talked about before, anytime I've played it at Comic-Con and PAX stuff, I've never thought, man, this is Batman.
No, it didn't look like Batman to me. Now, granted, I haven't had the hands-on time that you've had. So
You haven't played it at all?
No,
I thought you would have picked it up
I
like
have
a...
not touched Spider-Man. No, every time I've been around Spider-Man,
Yeah.
I've had something else I had to do. I've had
Sure.
like half a dozen moments where I'm just like, there's Spider-Man, can't play it right now.
Sure.
So I've had to walk right
Like
by
an
it.
E3 demo where they're at the construction site and he's up in the rafters, like
Yeah.
webbing people up there. I understand that, it's literally what Gil's saying, right? Of like, Batman on a gargoyle. That's kind of Batman has always put people on gargoyles and swung around. And I think Batman or Spider-Man, based on what you see at the E3 demo that's going around and every other demo you've seen, is moving quicker than Spider-Man in those instances in terms of web zips and all these other stuff.
Yeah, Batman feels kind of hulking in those moments. He's agile, but he's still got heft and gravity.
And even in the fight, like when you're surrounded by a gajillion people, Batman's way more, for the most part, stick with me, grounded. You know what I mean? In terms of, and I mean literally grounded, like throwing punches, doing this. Yes, again, you're grabbing people, pulling them at you, knocking them up. But I mean, Spider-Man, what they've shown of the combat system is like meant to get him up in the air and screw around.
Whereupon Batman's kind of using gravity as a weapon. Also, so much of what made Batman's combat feel right is not just the sense of motion, but particularly in stuff like the detective rooms, it's watching them get terrified, watching them panic.
Oh yeah, the terror being such a big problem. Yeah,
whereupon he's here somewhere, and Batman's like one by one by one. Whereupon I think Spider-Man is just going to get into it.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Spider-Man's not dividing up the combat. He's just diving in and doing Spider-Man stuff.
I think I saw. Yeah, I know I haven't seen much of that, Gil. I saw, of course, overnight the Puddlegate 2018. Did you see all this stuff?
I did.
Like how many they render in the puddles. I'm just like, this is what happens when people are starving for the game.
Yeah.
They just want the fucking game.
Yeah.
When the game comes out, whether it's a fucking 10 or a 1, no one's gonna care about the puddles. No, that's not what you're gonna be hung up when you're playing a game.
Nope.
Ron writes into kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, is it possible that Amazon's 20% discount game program ending was more due to game publishers not liking it? On the day the program ended, suddenly both Spider-Man and Battlefield 5 are only just now available for pre-order on Amazon. I can see why companies like EA and Sony would feel it's devaluing their titles, even if it was Amazon who was eating the costs. What are your thoughts?
Man, I don't even know. I don't understand how things get priced or sold, and I have no idea.
I mean, I think I think that clearly there was something going on behind the scenes where like lots of PlayStation titles weren't available to pre-order on Amazon. And I get questions about it all the time, and it was like, you don't know. The fact that, when the 20% ended, you start seeing games go up, it's like, oh, that was the issue. And I understand it sounds crazy, Barron, to sit here, or Ron Barron, Ron Barron's your full name, to be like, well, why the hell do they care about the 20%? Amazon's still buying. It's like, they just don't. It's the same reason when PSP Go happened, and when they were like, we're gonna do everything day and date on Vita, like you couldn't give huge discounts on the PSN because they didn't want to piss off their retail partners. And so when a retail partner goes and pisses off the other company, that's the one card they can play. And again, it's like, well, that seems kind of shitty and small. What seems small, of a small savings to us, multiply that by thousands of copies of a game, multiply it by the fact that means you're not buying anything on PSN now because you're already on Amazon and entrenched.
No, one can make a legitimate argument that the reason we are not still playing video games 20 years later on Sega hardware is the fact that they managed to simultaneously infuriate every retailer in the United States. And that was probably enough to kill them right there.
Yeah.
We might very well be playing the Sega Pluto right now.
Oh, wow.
Instead of the Xbox One.
That would have blown up in their face when that wasn't a planet anymore, you know?
Yeah, whoa, that could have been bad.
Yeah, exactly.
That could have been bad. But I'm not kidding. That might be the world we live in if it had not been for that factor.
It's always this, well, it's just such a small difference, or it's just such a small savings, or you're just not, you got to multiply it on the thousands of units that we're talking about when you talk about this stuff. And I have no inside information on this question, but it seems pretty clear that was the issue, and this is one of the solutions, and it's the same thing. I mean, is it right? Is it wrong? It's business. This whole thing is business. It's the struggle of the developer trying to make the art and get the art to the people, and the publisher trying to be like, cool, we want to make money so we can keep getting your art out there.
Well, everybody wants to cut out the middleman if they can, but something we don't hear very often is that sometimes the middleman exists because the middleman needs to exist.
Yeah.
That distribution pipeline, ridiculously important. There's so many amazing video game stories that are decided by distribution, and that's probably for another time instead of me ranting about it.
Nathan Steele writes in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, "What's up, Greg and Jared? During Gamescom, both Sekiro, is that how I say that? Sekiro and DMC5 had their release dates revealed. Both are scheduled to hit in March of next year. By my count, that is now 9 major games scheduled to be released in the first 3 months of 2019 so far. Parentheses, of course, things can change, games can be delayed. What is happening here? Is it solely publishers getting the hell out of the way of Red Dead 2? Were some of those games trying to take advantage of the slower release window and hopefully thrive away from the major holiday releases, but didn't know the other company's plans? Were some of these games originally scheduled for an earlier release, but delays forced them to move away from 2018? Parentheses, I know Kingdom Hearts and Crackdown have been delayed a lot already. Some combination of all three. Then Nathan lists it out like this: January 25th, Resident Evil 2. January 29th, Kingdom Hearts 3. February 22nd, Metro Exodus, Anthem, Crackdown 3, Days Gone. March 8th, Devil May Cry 5. March 15th, The Division 2. March 22nd, Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. 2019 is shaping up to be a pretty spectacular year, and it's still 4 months away. Thanks for the show, Nathan Steele.
Greg Miller, you like to cook.
I do love to cook.
You love to cook. Do you ever cook turkey?
Yeah.
Okay. You make a nice roast turkey?
Sure. Oh, it takes a while.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah.
I make the best roast turkey on the planet Earth.
Make it for me.
Unashamedly.
Okay.
Absolutely best. I'll make it for you. But
what are you doing? You brining it?
Think about it. That's a long recipe. We're not going to go down to that today. But roast turkey. Thing about roast turkey is that you never really know when it's going to be done.
Yeah.
You prepare it, you do everything right, but you can put 2 roast turkeys of exactly the same weight in the oven at exactly the same temperature, and they will finish an hour apart. God knows why that happens, but it does. Making a AAA video game is like making a roast turkey. You have no idea when it's really going to be done. You can make an educated guess, but it might be finished a little earlier than you thought, and it could be finished much later.
Yeah.
But if you take it out of the oven and serve it not completely cooked, you can very well poison people.
Yep.
That is the situation with a trillion moving parts that anybody making a AAA video game finds themselves in. They set a target date, but by and large, they don't actually know, despite the experience of their teams and all the project management in the world and all the planning and all the care they take, whether or not that game is going to be ready. So that's one part of it. Sometimes it's where they want it. Sometimes it's not. They start cutting things as time gets closer, but you can only cut so much before the game stops working. All that happens. Then combine that with the megalithic shadow, the planet-sized gravity well that is Red Dead Redemption 2,
Sure.
which, yes, people are absolutely trying to stay out of the way of. You put those 2 factors together and you get situations like this.
I think it's also the fact that the jig is up and people understand that first part of the year is a place where games that would do all right or be middling before can come out and actually find a foothold in an audience. Because it's what we talk about all the time. Hey, Christmas is done. You're back to work. You're back to school. You want something new for the shiny new box you had. Because it's the weirdest thing of, we talk about our backlogs and how, oh man, we're racing for game of the year. As soon as you get to that new year, everything from last year is last year's game. And now we are focused on what's happening. Where's E3? What are the fall games that year? And so when I look at this list, I think most of these games fall into that category of like, hey, we might be able to get a foothold there, right? Yeah. Resident Evil 2, Capcom's already had so much success here. Monster Hunter, Resident Evil 7, they know that they can release games and be great there. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the constant delay thing, but again, put it out there. It's going to be a long JRPG that speaks to a specific audience that no matter when that comes, it's going to sell to that audience.
Great analysis.
Metro Exodus is probably the chief... No, it's one of the chief top of the suspect list here of like, hey, this is a game that people have heard. Metro is good. People know Metro is good. They saw it at E3 and got impressed with it. Where can we put it where it can actually have a shot to shine? Front of the year. Put out and I don't mean to insult games when I call them the B team. But like, hey, we're not an established franchise in a way that we can compete and sell against major competition, right? Anthem's an interesting one, but it's also not, because Mass Effect games always launch in the first part of the year. Andromeda did. Mass Effect 2, I remember, came out on Damon's birthday in the beginning of the year. That's how I remember it. that's a space for them and the BioWare fans. So Anthem is going to sell well with BioWare fans and probably really well with everybody. I mean, you start looking at that, that's probably one of the bigger ones here. If not, yeah, probably going to do the... I don't know. It's going to do really, really well out of this group. Crackdown 3, who the fuck knows? That thing keeps moving. Who the fuck knows? Crackdown 3 right now, Microsoft's just like, fucking release it whenever you can.
I think it's going to turn out to be Skynet. It's harnessing the power of the internet.
Right.
It's cloud processing.
Days Gone is in the same boat as Metro. Hey, everybody, here is a game from a Sony first party. However, it's not Naughty Dog. It is not Sucker Punch. It is a first party that if you are into the PlayStation universe, you know Sony Bend does great work. You know they're a great team. Here's this game they've been working on. Where can this thing have a shot and get a foothold? It's right there at the beginning of it.
That game looks neat.
It does. Oh my! And when you play it, I'm like, oh, you know, there's something really, really cool here. This is a world I want to exist in. Devil May Cry 5, another game that is going to sell to every Devil May Cry fan. And maybe this gives it a chance to break outside of that.
And that Capcom keeps from stepping on its own toes here, too.
The Division 2 is the one I personally feel that, ran from Red Dead. I feel like the Division 2, if you would have told me before, or they did say before E3 that it was coming, they didn't tell us. We found out the release date at E3 though, right? Yeah, because I think I was on the panel where we did that. Anyways, I would have said, oh, that's going to be a fall game. For sure, that's going to be a fall game. It's Division, it's Ubisoft, they're going to be all over it. And you could say, well, they have Assassin's Creed. I'm like, that's a good point, but this is a different thing, da-da-da-da. The fact that it bumped, I'm like, oh, that's really weird. But again, it's also not, it's a game as a service. A lot of those games as a service launch in the beginning of the year. You know what I mean? Anthem's doing it, and you've seen it with other ones too. And then Shadows Die Twice, put it in the Bloodborne window. Bloodborne did really well in the first part of the year. Put it out there.
So most of these games have been in development for a long time. I agree with almost everything you just said, but I'm going to add this. I would be willing to bet parts of my body, portions of my physical anatomy, that every team that worked on these games, that somebody in every team 2 years ago had a meeting about how whatever happens, we have to make sure we don't launch across from Red Dead. I really do believe that happened.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying that didn't happen. It all played into it. It's a perfect storm. I want to go to Saucy Biscuit. He or she wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, hey there, KFGD crew. How is everyone doing in Octopath Traveler? I know Greg said he wanted to be in a committed relationship with that game and everyone else was having fun as well, but I also know that everyone has been busy with other games too. Are you still loving the game? Have you gotten much further in the story? What do you love most about it? I just completed Chapter 2 for Ophelia and discovered how to assign multiple jobs to one character. I love that the characters are starting to have more dialogue as well. The game warms my heart and I hope you are still having fun octoing its paths. Stay groovy. Saucy Biscuit.
So I'm on about a 70-hour and counting affair with Dragon Quest XI.
Oh, yeah. You're still working. Yeah.
No, I finished the game's main story, but there's post-game content that I'm still kind of delving into. But I do think I'm going to lay that down for a little while and go back to Octopath because I barely scratched the surface of an excellent game.
I talked about this on yesterday's Gamescast. It's up tomorrow on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and Monday for free everywhere. But the short version is that Valkyria Chronicles 4 is imminent in terms of review. And so I was like, all right, the time has come. And on the trip back from wherever I just came back from last, I was like, all right, Chicago. It was like, all right, cool, I'm doing the Valkyria demo and I'm going to start building up to that. So when it gets here and the baton gets passed, I can just keep going. However, that was the flight out there. I think I crossed the 38-hour mark in Octopath Traveler, right? Like, I am still in love with Octopath Traveler. This is what we were talking about yesterday, right? I'm going to get back to it. And I know I say that about a lot of games, but the fact that it's on Switch, the fact that the combat system is not like, wait, what was I doing? What was going on?
Yeah.
The fact that when I walk in, they recap a story. Like, once I'm done with Valkyria, that'll go back to the top of the pile.
Isn't that a great feature? Dragon Quest does that too. You come back into Dragon Quest, it's just like, here's what's happened so far.
Yeah.
And they recap. That's so great with an RPG. I love that.
Yeah, totally. And especially for one that gets it so right in terms of drop in, drop out. Yeah. Play a little bit, play for hours, whatever you want to do, you're going to be able to get in there and go. So I still totally love it. You say, what do I love most about it? It is the combat. It is satisfying. I agree with you, Saucy. I liked the fact I'm well into my chapter 2 on most of the characters now. And yeah, the fact that they all are talking more, I am getting more personality from everybody. I love seeing them interact and them not, every time somebody talks to Primrose, like Primrose talking to the scholar whose name is escaping me at this moment, like he just doesn't get that he's like this weird handsome dude or whatever, and like everything he says gets taken out of context. She's like, you can't, you're not talking in the right, you know what I mean? It's fun. It's fun.
All
stuff.
that said, Valkyria for life.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
For life. Valkyria
is going to go on quite a while with me, I'm sure.
I can't wait.
Wait. I want to do one more. Jared, do you want to talk about Destiny 2 on PlayStation Plus or Dreams being playable at PAX West?
Oh, definitely Dreams being playable at PAX West. Let's never talk about Destiny 2 again, if at all possible.
Oh, my God. Wow.
I got no love for Destiny.
Oh my God.
Destiny hurt me.
Oh, wow. I didn't know this. It was such an open wound.
I was really excited about Destiny, the original Destiny.
Yeah.
And then it was what it was. And then I was like, well, I will never be excited about this again.
Damn. Paulogy writes in to kindafunny.com/KFGD. And I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, Paulogy. Good to hear from you. Given Dreams is playable by the public for the first time at PAX West, do you think this means there could be a beta available soon, or at least by year end?
It could be. I don't see them releasing a beta. I think they wait for the late winter for that myself. Yeah. Just because it's so crowded and they don't want to draw attention away from other things they're doing. Whereupon in January, February, something like that can really get a chance to shine.
Well, it's a normal thing too. You start worrying about marketing beats, right? We just had Gamescom, nothing. Paris Games Week's coming up. We put it in there. Right? Maybe you could do it there and do an announcement there. I've seen people write in, is there a PSX this year? If there's a PSX this year, you could do it, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing PSX at this point is probably a 2019 proposition. I think we'd have heard about it by now, right?
I agree, but then I also remember one year where they announced it super late. So it's just like I can't predict it. I don't know if it's happening or not. It's Dreams is very the Dreams beta is very much like me with Crackdown. I'm like, I don't know. Who the fuck knows? Because it was, remember, Dreams beta was supposed to be last summer. Yeah. And then they never said a fucking word about it. Yeah. Like, I understand Media Molecule, like, they're awesome and they're amazing, and the game is very impressive, and I know it's huge, and I've seen a lot of stuff happen in that game already. Now it's just do it.
I'm honestly scared that they might be in a position where they're realizing the game's going to go out to die on current gen by the time it's finally ready to show, and they might be targeting next gen.
You think so?
I wonder. I mean, we're getting, for a game like that where you want to have some legs on it, releasing at the end of the generation could be a real mistake.
Wow. That would be crazy.
It's all about UGC in that game. It's all about what you want to be able to create. I know, if you don't have that community, if everybody's off doing something else on new hardware, if they're off playing crappy launch titles, when they could be playing, because that's what we do when we get excited. Who wants to talk about last gen when there's new shiny things to play with?
But I am not compromised, but I do love Media Molecule. You know what I mean? I think they're a talented studio. I know a lot of people professionally through there and stuff, and like they're all awesome guys and gals. I sincerely worry that Dreams will kill them. That Dreams will get released this generation because it will be fucking just put a tourniquet on it and release the damn thing, and it goes out, and then they're like, all right, you guys are done. You know what I mean? Because I'm hesitant to say that because I know PlayStation is the place where weird shit happens. Make weird shit. We want you to experiment. We want you to create. But I don't, and I'm not in any of the boardrooms, and I don't know if Shu's sitting there being like, how is this game still not out? How is this still going on? How did we not get the bait? I don't know what that perception is and what that relationship is. I hope it comes out, and like I've said, like when me and Andy went and saw it and came back and talked about it at PSX last year, right? Mm-hmm. Or I saw it at E3, then I showed it to Andy at whatever. It was like, fuck, this thing's amazing, and there's gonna be so many amazing creations on it. All of that said, I still don't know if that expands beyond the reach of what the people who are interested in doing that are. I really feel, because we just get into, it's what I always say, where there is no room anymore for a good game. There is no room in anybody's library or time for a game that's a 7.5. And I'm not saying Dreams will be a 7.5. It probably, I don't even know. I think it's going to get into the 8s because of how impressive the tools are and all this other stuff. But the comments are going to be like, but if you don't want to create stuff, like, I don't know. And that's how people are going to feel about it. And everyone's going to look at it and be like, oh, that's kind of like an Everest. That's a game where I have no interest in creating, and I heard the story mode's like whatever, and I'll see if, and then it's just gonna
see that for me. That's more a matter of I'm. Please forgive me. I forget the name of the guest, the developer we had on a few weeks ago, who was talking about a game needs to be able to do one or two things really well, and we forgive the rest. Mm-hmm. And if they absolutely nail the world creation and they focus on that in marketing, that it could still succeed. I'm really just more worried about them having the window for that to happen. Yeah. If PS5 is 2019, if it's end of year 2019,
it's not 2019.
Then they're really in trouble.
It's not 2019.
If it's 2020, if they get the game out by next Christmas, I think they're okay.
So that'd be a year before PS5 ramps up.
If they don't, then I'm really worried about them.
They're great. The game looks super fascinating. I just don't know. That is one I look at and I'm like, I don't know if this would if it'll catch fire and move. And I again, I think the PlayStation that was the PlayStation that launched PlayStation 4, that was very much like, yeah, I share a game. I'm Mark Cerny. Da 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 da. People. We're people. That PlayStation, I feel like would have been like, all right, they got a shot at this. And now PlayStation's kind of walled up and we've just been like, no, now we're established PlayStation again and we're just rolling. I don't know.
Someday somebody's going to learn. Every generation.
We'll see. Jared?
Yes, sir.
It's time to squat up.
All right.
This is where one of you writes into kindoffunny.com/KFGD with your question. No, that's right. Your name. Username, platform of choice, why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you and play games. Today, Erick needs help on Xbox. His Xbox Live username is eezzy. It's ice and then a space, eezzy. Ice says, motherfucking Modern Warfare 2 is backwards compatible and I need some best friends to play it with. I already have over 700 hours in. And I'm pretty sure it's going to take over my life again until Spider-Man comes out. Also, I'm one achievement away from unlocking that sweet 100%. So if anyone feels like doing Spec Ops missions, that would be great. My name's eezzy with 2 E's and 2 Z's. eezzy, a better way to cook.
So, 2 things to interject before you're wrong, Greg Miller.
Yeah.
First and foremost, shout out from that wonderful squad up to Xbox backward compatibility, one of the finest features of the entire platform. Love it. It's awesome. Great feature. Thanks for supporting that, Major Nelson. Second, egregious abuse of my power to shill for someone I love.
Oh, shill for him.
Yep, absolutely shilling. From my buddy Sam, who's working on a crowdfunded tabletop game right now called Entromancy.
Okay.
Yep. Entromancy. Entromancy. That's Entromancy. It's got a Kickstarter going on right now. It's got a week left to go. It's doing really, really well. I mentioned this guy's thing. I don't normally back stuff like this very often, but this is a guy I trust. This is somebody I know well, I've worked with, I like, creative, thoughtful, great writer. So if you're interested in this, check out Entromancy, Entromancy, because he does some cool stuff. I like to back stuff on Kickstarter, but I don't usually
promote it,
shock or shill for him.
Yeah.
But this is my friend. He does good work, and I trust him.
Awesome. Well, thanks for bringing that to the table.
No problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for You're Wrong. This is where you write in if you're watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to set the record straight. Here's what we've messed up today. Shredberg says, Jared, the fighting game with the Shovel Knight is Blade Strangers.
Thank you.
Yep.
What is wrong with that? I cannot remember the name of the wizard today, much less Blade Strangers. Something going on with my head.
Lord of Pone says Cyrus is the scholar. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
That's right. Here we go. Capitalist Pig, read the PSX announcement dates. PSX has been announced very late into the year before. 2016's PSX wasn't dated until the end of September. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
really
yeah.
that late?
Yeah.
Get them tickets while they
this
last.
is interesting. Yokuz610 says, when Jared talks about turkey, saying no way to tell even when you cook two the same weight and size. I'm an 18-year chef. It's due to the density of the meat and the location of the size points. The example I gave in chat was... two people can be the same weight, same size and weight, yet their fat is stored in their muscles and changes densities and makes all that difference.
Freaking amazing. I didn't know
you
why
go.
thank you for the education. Oh, I'm so happy about that.
Okay, it's just Zaire says in 2016 the dates for PSX were announced September 27th, and in 2017 they were announced on August 14th. So yeah, we're still in the window where it could happen. I love
PSX. PSX rad.
What?
What do you got there?
No, I don't know.
No.
It's not for me if it's my mistake, so I'm not doing it.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been kind of funny. Games Daily. If you didn't know, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we give you the nerdy news you need to know about in the world of video games. If you like that, be part of the show. kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Watch live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Listen on podcast services around the globe. We are off to PAX, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking your ear off about it, of course.
Yep.
See us Friday, see us Saturday.
Gonna catch an airplane.
'Cause I'm leaving on a jet plane. Hold on, I'm not done yet. Don't cut me off.
I'll be back again.
Tomorrow, your hosts are a GameSpot takeover. Chastity and Kal-ee are coming through, running this show for us.
Oh, babe,
Until next time, it's been a pleasure to serve you.